So, Halloween's coming, and it's the thing. Anyway, we're going to try and do all of today's vlog on this, which is the SJ6 Legend, and yeah, so let's get to it. Right, so off into town then, guys. So, helps if I got my seatbelt on. So yeah, I'm using the SJ6 Legend with the microphone. Now, the trouble with these microphones are, because this one is a lapel mic, and anywhere that the cord rubs is going to cause mic noise. And I did think about sort of like threading it through and clipping it up on the ceiling and stuff like that, but the trouble is, anywhere you attach it to the car will pick up vibration, and it does come through. You know, I've had this with, I've tried it with other mics on the phone and stuff like that. So basically at the minute it's just hanging, and when I'm changing gear it's tapping me against the hand. So yeah, just off into town now. It's actually late. It's 10 past 3. I was going to say 10 past 4. I haven't adjusted the car clock yet, so that's got to be put back an hour yet as soon as I get a chance. Yeah, our visitors left around about dinner time ish, a bit before I think, and then the wife's carer went, and then our daughter turned up with the granddaughter, and then another person popped around for a visit, and everybody's finally gone now. So I'm just off into town now, and I was going to have a chicken dinner, but I think it's just going to be chicken and chips now, and I'll be picking up the son, and hopefully we'll do a bit of Time-Lapse as we come back. Now this camera has two settings for sort of time-lapse, well, two functions of it, so I'm going to try both at some point. But basically what you have is, you have time-lapse as in like a photo lapse, which is like a very correct time-lapse, but of course what you get is photo-sized images, which you then have to basically resize to fit the 1080 timeline. By the way, I am recording this 1080 this time, 60 frames a second. I only went 60 frames a second just in case I wanted to slow-mo anything. And then it also has what's called a video lapse. And of course you can adjust all the timing on these as well, and you can adjust shutter speed and all sorts. But I've just gone with auto on the shutter speed, and yeah, stuff like that. So I'm not sure what it actually runs out of that. But right now anyway, I'm just recording 1080, 60 frames a second. But this video lapse is the one that interests me. I've got a feeling what it'll actually be is it'll do it as a video. I've got a feeling it'll give me a video file when it's finished, rather than when you do a time-lapse as a photo time-lapse, as they should be done, which is the true way to do it, the traditional way. It is basically a folder full of images that you then have to set to a duration of 1 frame and stitch them all together in your 30 frames a second timeline, whatever size you go with. I mean, those lapses that I did in the other video were all actually video footage that I had then used QuickTime 7 to take sections out and basically remove frames. And one trouble with that is, when you take the finished item from QuickTime and put them into Final Cut, you find that it's actually dimmed the light on them a fair bit. So I did have to bring the brightness back up on them in Final Cut. So I mean, I didn't actually do any colour grading or anything. Those colours were as it comes out of the camera. So, you know, this time I'll probably just do a bit of light grading and what have you. But yeah, I'm interested in, you know, trying to get to grips with all the settings and exactly see, you know, what I can get out of it. So yeah, but this microphone's turned up and I'm trying it out now. Now I have noticed I've already done like a practice clip with it. Basically there is like a hiss still there, but of course it's louder, so it gives you more room to take the volume down a bit and possibly get rid of the hiss. But we'll just have to see about that. I've not actually tried it in the car yet with the lapel mic, so at the minute I am just hoping that it comes out okay. This also, when you put it in the wide mode, it also flattens the flattens the image a lot. You don't get as much of the distortion effect that you get with a GoPro. Now, a lot of these settings that this has got, I can't have them on the Session that I've got, but I know they do come in a lot of the other GoPros. You know, the sort of full-size ones, as it were. You know, like your GoPro 5 and stuff like that. I've noticed the GoPro 6 that they're having some problems with, similar sort of teething problems that they had with the 5 as well, which is a shame, really. I mean, the thing is with GoPro, you're buying that name, aren't you? It is the name that is synonymous with all sort of action cameras. This one also has like a car cam mode. I'm not quite sure how that is, like a dash cam mode, so I'm not quite sure what the difference is. So, you know, they're giving you that option to use it as a dash cam. There's a few. I mean, it's like it's got an FPV mode, first person view, where at the end of the day a camera's first person view anyway, surely, isn't it? I don't know. So yeah, I've still got a fair bit to learn about it, really. And the light's very up and down today. It's very chilly outside, actually. We went through a very sunny patch and it's gone downhill again a little bit cloudy and what have you, but as you pop in and out of the buildings you're going to notice the light going up and down a lot on the video. But yeah, as we go back, like I said, I'm going to do some I'm going to use this video lapse setting and give you some sort of familiar footage, as it were. You know, it gives you something to get an idea of how the footage comes out of this camera. I'll be putting it in the case to do it, purely because it's quite wet outside today, and of course this camera does need the case on to make it waterproof, which is to is it 30 metres I think they'll go, or 30 metres. Right, not got the microphone in, wasn't keen on that audio, so let me explain about that tarmac footage. Basically what it is, with this camera, the touchscreen on the back is actually rather, it's very sensitive when you don't want it to be sensitive. Let me put it like that, which a lot of them are, I find. You know, you're pressing on them, and it's like, why aren't you working? And then right when you don't need it to be sensitive, it is sensitive. And what happens is, because the screen basically fills up the entire back of the camera, you tend to catch your fingers on it as you're putting it in. And what I'd done, unbeknown to me, was I'd put it into, what was it, burst mode, that was it. So when I went to have a look at it, it just basically had about 9 photographs in it or something like that. I think it was a bit more than that, but that was basically what happened. So I was a bit gutted. But of course the nights are getting shorter now, so not a lot I could do about it, apart from suck it up and learn from my mistake, basically. So yeah, it's that's made it a little bit shorter. I mean, you've got a little bit of time lapse from the beginning there of well, that is the video lapse. that was taken outside on my little creepy crawly rig thing that I made. So yeah, a little bit of a Halloween theme going on. I just thought, well, it's Halloween on Tuesday, isn't it? So, and it's my grandson's birthday on the day before that, on the Monday. So yeah, we will be having a party tea thing tomorrow night, as we do for all of them. And yeah, so yeah, I've still got a lot of settings I want to play around with on this camera and see. I mean, I'm looking at the footage. I think I still prefer that 24 frames a second 4K. Definitely, it definitely looked a lot better, I think. I'm running this down now at 30 frames a second instead of the 60 that I was running before. So obviously that's compressed. This won't be as compressed. But I was sort of looking at it, and it brings out very strong on like reds and greens. You know, your primary colours. They are very strong in the footage, I've noticed. And it picked up. I noticed the white of my t-shirt extremely brightly. Not a great deal you can do about that once it's done, apart from messing around with masking and stuff like that. There's just not a great deal you can do with it afterwards, unless you've got some proper sort of colour grading software, which I don't. And probably one of the better ones to run on a Mac would be Colour Grading Central, I think. I think you can get the basic version of it for about $100 or something like that, which would basically be £100. I think it's £99 or something like that. And then, of course, there's a pro version of it that's a lot more tools in it and what have you. I don't see me going down that line at all. I'm happy with the basic tools that you get in Final Cut for now. But yeah, it's just quite a learning curve with this one. It's not a big learning curve. It's quite a simple camera to use. It's just a bit long-winded because there's so much in there, alterable in the settings and what have you. I mean, there's even a low light mode and you know, stuff like that, so that I could maybe try that one night and see what sort of footage I get from that, to see how dark it will go. But you know, on top of that, you can also lengthen the shutter time. You know, you can alter the shutter time, so you can have a longer shutter speed, a slower shutter speed, should I say, and that, of course, will increase the intake of light and what have you as well. So, like I say, there's still quite a lot to learn on it. Biggest drawback with it, apart from the fact that the mounts aren't into, you know, I mean, it comes down to copyright and stuff like that, doesn't it? I mean, to my mind, with these sort of cameras nowadays, they need to throw away the copyright on the mounts and just pick one and stick with it, all of them, whichever one's best. GoPro, you know, it's a nice mount that can snap. I can't really think of any other ones offhand that might even be better. There are some better fastening systems out there, especially by some of the case manufacturers that do cases for bikes and what have you, like Quad-Lock and stuff like that. They do some really nice fastening systems. I'd love to see something like that added to the sports cams, to be honest. But I think the main sort of grumble I would have with this camera would be battery life. You know, I've had to stop and charge this back up. You know, I had to put it back on charge after I'd got a load of footage from it, and it doesn't take long to charge. But I suppose to sweeten that deal a little bit is the fact that the batteries are so cheap. So as soon as I've got a few quid spare, I will get some more batteries for it, because you can get, for this particular one, I know they all vary slightly across the range of the SJ cameras, and that is that you can get 2 batteries for this one with an external charger that charges both at once, and the lead for it, and I believe it'll plug in to a USB so you can actually charge it in your car or wherever, and that is £22 here in the UK right now, which I think is a cracking deal for a pair of batteries and a charger. So, you know, I'll probably do that and just make sure that if I'm leaving out for the day or anything like that, I will have 3 fully
charge batteries. You know, I mean, I can charge one in this and then put the other two in the charger. Hey press, so you've got 3 fully charged batteries. I mean, this one fully charges from, I mean, I've never actually run it totally flat, but I've run it down to 1 bar. I haven't wanted to risk it, you know, failing on you partway through a recording or something like that. So I think, you know, how long did it take? I mean, to put the remaining 4 or 5 bars, I think it is, on the battery symbol and fill it, I think it took probably about half an hour, 45 minutes. So it's not long, you know, it's quite a quick charge realistically. So from that point of view, you know, I'm not that bothered by it. But if you were out and about and you've only got 1 battery with you, yeah, it could be a problem for some people. But they are very cheap, so there's no reason not to go and buy a couple more batteries. And most of them tend to come like that. You don't see many that split it up and sell it as a battery on its own. There are 1 or 2, but not many. And I just think for £22, 2 batteries in the charger is well worth it. So that is what I will do. But we're running up to another 8 minutes or so here now, guys. So I'm going to call it a day. It's very dark outside, but what time is it? It is 7 o'clock, so not that late. I've been up a lot later doing it. This renders out so much better and quicker as well, of course. Quicker than my iPhone actually, which is, I think, is crazy. It's ridiculous when you think that iPhone footage put onto Final Cut actually takes quite a bit of time to, you know, they're made, the thing is, on the phone they're made more as a do it all on the phone, upload it from the phone, and that's how it all goes. But I prefer to edit to a slightly finer point, I suppose, on the Mac, and it's just the whole transferring the footage and then actually rendering it to run on the Mac. It can take some time. But yeah, other than that, on the whole, absolutely loving this camera, guys. So I will endeavour to get you some Time-Lapse footage for next week's vlog. So on that point, guys, do take care of yourselves, and I will see you next week.